Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And this is the Old School Wrestling Review. We will be reviewing Monday Night Raw from Monday, August the 24th. I believe I'm correct, August 24th, 2020. A very interesting program indeed. And to get started, our panel, Jack Lord, Rodney West, and Jack. I don't think I think we should just go ahead and get started, and we'll all give our little reviews and our little things that we want to talk about. Go ahead, Jack.
All right. Opening segment was a Drew McIntyre interview, which Randy Orton came out and wound up giving him 2 head punch at the end. The interview, I don't know, it's pretty standard. I mean, it wasn't a bad interview. Didn't really light no fires, but I don't know. We were discussing this earlier. I'll backtrack just a second. You know, I thought WWE had a strong weekend. SmackDown was really good. NXT was great. SummerSlam was really good. And I just think everybody just got tired and just didn't want to do much Monday night. And I don't think it was the wrestlers as much as a lot of turmoil going on behind the stage, behind the scenes, from what I understand.
Well, I will tell you, the Keith Lee package that they did prior to Randy Orton kicking Drew McIntyre twice in the head, and we'll later see what happens. I think 2 to the head, that should have been it. You should have been carried out for the next 3 years. But
yeah, well, we're not done.
Go ahead, Rodney. What do you think about that? About the kicks to the head?
Should have been done the night before SummerSlam.
I agree with that.
Bottom line is, you should never open the show with the champ, the star. You should always hold him to later. I don't know of any program that I've ever seen. Of course, this is old school review, that you open up and the world champion is standing out there. Of course, they've devalued the champion to where he doesn't mean anything. And, but my opinion, they should have done it in the night before and then had them get into it later. But that's my opinion.
Hey, by the way, the ratings were up on Monday, August the 24th, 2020. They were up 2,140,000 people were watching the program at 8 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock, 2,045,000. And then 1.9 was watching at the 10 o'clock hour. So they lost about 240,000 people between the 8 o'clock and the 10 o'clock time slot. Just thought we'd throw that in.
I want to tell you that I started the show at 9:30 and finished it as it went off. It's going off at 11, and
you were not watching the Hulu version where it's cut down either. I'll throw that in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
moving on.
All right. Yes.
Next match: Shayna Baszler versus Bayley. They have been doing. I like Shayna Baszler, mainly because she's legit. She's a really great wrestler. I thought the match itself was pretty good. They've just been drawing out this deal between Shayna and what's her name?
Nia Jax.
Nia Jax. Yeah, Nia Jax. Which, maybe it's not a bad little storyline that they're doing, but man, it's been done 1,000 times before and better. But anyway.
I didn't watch it, so go ahead, Ray.
Well, again, apparently, I believe his name was Corey. Was it Corey that I gave the Emmy Award to? Corey.
Yep.
Apparently, was the acting teacher for most Mrs. Jax and Shane. This stellar performance yet again. Emmys to both of them. Then the match was going great. I mean, I thought it was going just perfect. And then what's going to be the theme of the entire night, outside interference after outside interference. And there's no reason why. That was not a title match. There's no reason why they couldn't have at least had a finish in it and then do what they were going to after. But what we're seeing is you had a decent match. You only cover up when you think the match is weak, or you send somebody out there if it's weak. You don't send somebody out there when the match was obviously strong. And I thought this match was strong. And then they they just destroyed the whole thing, and they created this other nonsense. And it would have been better to me if they would have had the girl on the outside, Sasha, who I like her. Sasha to interfere, and then had Jax not to already appear, just automatically just show up, and then go into a tag match and put them over. The champions beat them, and then you have a reason for the tag match for whatever, but just to do it for the sake of dramatic effect and the soap opera. It's just...
All right, next segment was the Kevin Owens show. I'm going to keep cutting Rodney off all night with Aleister Black. I like Kevin Owens. I do. I wish he'd take the T-shirt off when he wrestles, but other than that, I like him a lot. Aleister Black, I don't know. It just seems like they were trying too hard with the gimmick he was doing. He's not big enough to do an Undertaker type gimmick, and that's the way I thought it is. Maybe I missed the boat on that. But anyway, not surprising. They hadn't done anything with Aleister in a while. So, and Kevin, for that matter. Now, I think they'll have some good matches. You know, I don't know that the setup here was the greatest in the world, but, you know, I've seen worse. Rodney?
I saw that coming from 10 miles away. I mean, it's and the thing about it, he just got injured. You would think that they would run the sympathy card first, you know, at least get that. But now, who cares? I mean, they just done a thing. Who cares about if you got injured? It doesn't matter to us anymore. You're just going to backstab the next one, like I said before. It looks like the inmates of Arkham Asylum is taking control there. And they're running the whole show. That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like the Joker has set up, and he's making the matches back there. And you know, the Riddler, and they're going Bane's beating everybody up inside, and they're taking the prison guards, and they're putting them into the matches. It's like dystopian. It's dystopian wrestling. Is bad you call it that.
I was 10 miles away. I didn't watch that. So
you did. Well, you should. If you didn't see it coming, you know, even that eye he was blinded in saw it coming. I'll just tell you right now.
Oh, he lost an eye too, huh?
Well, pretty close, yeah.
I'm guessing Seth Rollins had something to do with that. He
did, and then that whole thing was just dropped.
You would think they would take those steps off the ring off the ring side to keep that.
At least put those little safety things on the corners.
That would be good.
Hey, by the way, everyone, go ahead and send your comments and your questions, and when we get through reviewing this, we're gonna get to all the insiders' questions, comments, thoughts, knocks, whatever y'all want to do. Go ahead. You can send it on. Remember, with the old school wrestling review, remember that when we're reviewing. All right, go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry.
Fatal 4-way for the coveted and rarely changing hands 24/7 title. Tozawa finally winds up pinning Shelton Benjamin and taking the belt. Cedric Alexander, R-Truth was also in there. Now, I love R-Truth. If you're going to do a comedy thing, R-Truth is the perfect guy for that. Because he's just, it's like he doesn't realize, the character he portrays doesn't realize that he's being funny. You know, he thinks he's serious coming off funny. He's the only comedy act in wrestling that I like. But the match wasn't bad. It just, too many guys in there trying to do too many things, again, for my taste. Brent, did you see that one?
No, I was 10 miles away from that one as well.
we're gonna have to get you. We're gonna have to get you
was that
in line here.
I was able to fast forward through the show twice.
Well, now to Brent's defense, he watches it on Hulu, and they take about half the show out before they produce it, which may be the best way to actually watch.
I enjoyed watching that hour and a half. You know, it was all right.
It's funny. I regard the ring entrances as time killers, and that's what I look at them as. I fast forward through the whole entrance. I found it odd though that R-Truth was the only one that was allowed to have a ring entrance.
Hey, while we're talking about the 24, Michael Barr said that 24/7 title is one crazy gimmick. Just thought since we're on that, we'll throw him in there.
and he also asked where I learned the word dystopia.
And while we're at it, we're talking about this match that we don't. James said, "I love R-Truth, but also like the question mark at Aaron Stevens for their comment." And James, I have no clue who you're talking about.
So. The question mark is on NWA. Aaron Stevens, I believe, is on the NWA too. Okay. Which, off note, they're coming back with a new deal. We'll talk about that on a future episode once they get everything up and going with their end. Okay, next segment, Randy Orton coming out telling his life story, and Keith Lee interrupts. I didn't think it was bad. What do you think, Rodney?
These people cannot leave anybody else alone. Let them finish what they got to say. Don't come out there and interrupt every time. And it didn't end well for you, I don't think. I think he ended up looking bad at the end, but that's just me. I thought he looked bad at the end, but you might want to just think about, let the man say what he needs to. But everybody that comes out there with a microphone normally is interrupted one way or the other.
You know, let me ask y'all a question. Now, I remember seeing Keith Lee in NXT. Has his personality changed now?
I think they're trying to change a little bit of everything about him. I think Keith Lee is probably one of the best wrestlers that they have on their payroll, period. And he had a tremendous match at NXT TakeOver Saturday night. And then Monday night, he comes out in some kind of skirt-like deal with a full-body upper piece. They completely changed his music, which my understanding is they were some kind of copyright issues, so they as soon as he came to Raw, they wanted to change that. Yeah. Oh yeah. And, but it was just like, I mean, when I saw him, I looked forward to him coming to Raw. I really did. Cause I think he could be a main event guy and I think he could really draw some money. But when he came out wearing what he wore, I just felt like when the Viking Raiders came out, they were superb in NXT and a comedy act once they hit Raw. And I don't think they're doing him justice. Leave him alone. He was great as he was. Utilize him to his potential, not to what Vince's vision is.
And his interview not different?
Yeah.
There was something strange about that interview. He's not going to get over, I don't think, doing that interview.
Well, there was a couple of points there. Is one, he was kind of cryptic on some of his responses on Twitter when questioned about the music and about the new look, and basically saying, "Hey guys, I'm just doing the best I can with what I got. We've already heard that they were rewriting everything right up till showtime, and then they're force feeding you everything that you got to say real quick and get out there. It takes a little while to get in that groove. Guys aren't trained the way we used to do back in the day of, saying, okay, well, you're wrestling, so-and-so next week, go out and plug that. They're given word for word. And I'm sure he was struggling trying to remember on short notice what he was supposed to say. I mean, I want Keith Lee to succeed because it's better for the business if he does.
Oh, by the way, Retro Rob, you are fined $50 for being late. Came in late, so we don't have that here. I'll write you down. That's two. That's tough. Was Retro Rob late the last time?
I believe he was. I believe he was.
That's $100 fine there, Retro Rob.
That's a bunch of T-shirts off the side.
I know. All right. We ready to go on? Let's go further on.
Let's go on. Montez Ford facing Angel Garza in the never-ending saga of these two tag teams, which apparently there's no other tag teams in WWE because we see these guys going against each other, it seems like, every Monday night. Now, I don't dislike either team. I think they're good. But you get tired of seeing the same old thing without some kind of big payoff to it.
But they're good wrestlers, though.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, there's not a person on that roster that isn't really, really good. I mean, I couldn't do a tenth of what these folks are doing now. Nothing that I say in a derogatory way is aimed at the wrestlers, just at those folks behind the curtain.
And they didn't have a bad match. I didn't think they had a bad match.
No, it was good. It was a good match. It was a good match.
I have this bell system. I give it ding, ding, ding. I give it three bells. 3 bells is what I give it. I'm sorry. Okay, Rodney, go ahead. I just thought it was pretty good.
Is this where the guy for the Capital One Viking guy comes out and gets the girl?
Yep.
Oh, I don't even want
the only thing that was missing is him saying, "What's in your wallet?" That's the only thing I'm missing. That again, outside stuff taken away from what they're doing. They can work as hard as they want to, but this outside nonsense that's going on around, it takes away. It takes away from their hard work. That's just my opinion of it.
But didn't they just do that same angle with Otis and Mandy Rose?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember a very similar thing with George the Animal Steel and Miss Elizabeth. I
just don't know why you just finished a thing up with them. Why would you just? Hey, you know what? Let's see if I can throw this dart. Oh, I hit the same thing we just did with Otis, but you know what? It's there. That's what we're doing. I mean, what? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's ridiculous.
I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna cry on that one. That's do the same writing over and over again. What in the world's wrong with you people that's writing that thing in WWE? All right, go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry.
Okay. Next match, we have a ladies 6-man, 6-woman, 6-woman, to be politically correct. Ruby Wright, who is one of my favorite of the ladies that's up there. I think she's fantastic. I love her look, how different she is, with Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair versus Selena Vega and the Iconics, which I love the Iconics because everybody hates them, which means they're doing their job. So, Rodney, what do you think?
I fast forward through most of this. I love Bianca, though. She's from Knoxville. I like it. I like her. I thought she was great, and I thought the finish was really good too. It was one of the ones that didn't have outside interference, so I enjoyed it. So
I didn't watch that, but I disagree with Jack. I don't like the Iconics. I just don't like them, and it has nothing to do with the wrestling ability either. I just think there's too much.
Michael Barr tells you not to waste your teeth. It's too hard to
find. Hey, James Brown wants to know if does Vince fire himself as a writer? Well, he should. I mean, should. All right, go ahead. Got to be very careful, though. Vince could be watching. You don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack, I think you've went.
We're
not hearing you. Yeah, you have went silent on us.
How about silent pictures? Silent pictures. Oh.
All right, he'll come back, Rodney.
Right,
so what's the next thing?
Vince cut his mic. We have the arm wrestling contest. And another one that you can see coming about 5 miles off. It was Lashley and Apollo Crews. They just had the title changed hands the night before. Crews is a new United States champion, and you could see that coming about 4 miles off. Mark,
Are you back with us, Jack? Can we hear you?
I think we're having some thunderstorms down here. So
no, now James Brown told us that Vince cut your mic, but it was me that was saying stuff bad about Vince. He cut yours instead. We were just talking about the arm wrestling challenge thing. I was all right with it. I was fine with it.
Yeah. It was original. It's never been done before.
Yes.
So. I will say this: my favorite part of it is that they didn't drag it out. They did it. Okay. They came out to do it. They did it. It got the response it needed to have, and it was over with.
It was good to see Mickey Henry. Not Mickey Henry. That's the guy in Alabama. Not Mickey Henry. Mark Henry.
Mickey Henry.
So you too, Mickey.
I might have called him Mickey Henry. I don't know.
I'm sorry there, Mark. I didn't mean to call you Mickey Henry. So, all right, go ahead, Jack.
I think I'm doing pretty good. I haven't seen the show, like I said, in 7 years. So,
Okay, our next was a tribute from Natalia and Lana for Mickie James, which I had no idea that Natalia had turned heel, and she didn't know it either till she got there that day. But anyway, I thought it was really good. The way they did it, they didn't draw it out again. It's to the point. I like the way that we're going to show you. From Natalia said, we're going to show you video highlights of all her great successes, and it's a blank screen. And she says, well, that's it. She never had any highlights here. She never got over. She wasn't good. And then Mickie comes out and beats crap out of both of them real quick, and it's over with.
Well, evidently Lana was just thinking it was one of them Firefly things, and it was opposite of that, and Lana was the one that didn't have to. Sorry, I don't said
that. Rodney, what you think?
They had great dresses, very white, lovely. I mean, they're very fashionable. They look great. Yep. They look great, and Mickie came out and.
By the way, I did not have to watch that.
Well, I just not a surprise there. It's not a surprise there. You would think if you're trying to entice. Let me say this. If you're trying to entice somebody to come to the ring, you'd think you'd be ready for them.
You would, and they weren't.
No, apparently not. Apparently she showed up. I don't know, but you would think that, hey, if I'm trying to sucker somebody to coming out, you would think, hey, I'm be ready.
Melissa said they stole that from Gordon Soley. Let's go Black.
That's right. You're
probably right, Melissa.
Okay, our next big outing was I thought really good. Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. I thought they had a really good match. Drew came in and caused the disqualification, and Randy Orton won, which, they made a big point out of Keith Lee talking about how close him and Drew were as friends. And, I maybe got my little crystal ball here, but I kind of see that they might be setting Keith Lee up for that turn to go against him before too long, which is a good idea, So, Rodney, what do you think?
Well, we did I miss the underground thing? I thought it'd come first before that.
Did it? Well, I read my reviews. I thought it'd come on later, but then again, I don't have it on my notes either. That's how impressed I was with it.
Well, yeah, I was too. But anyway, Randy Orton Jr. and Keith Lee was again a great match right up until outside interference again.
Yep.
I mean, it just one after the other. The last time I saw this many run-ins, it was about the end of Jarrett's promotion shows, which we called the run-in show.
Here's my thought
over again
of this match. I liked the match until the end. And I'm not talking about Drew McIntyre coming out, which was crazy, stupid. Sorry, you don't kick somebody twice and they come out. Now you've killed that gimmick to a point that he's going to have to kick the guy 32 times for it to mean something. That's just crazy stuff. You're making Randy Orton look bad. You're not making Drew McIntyre look good. You're making Randy Orton look bad. But here was the problem. They keep on going outside. And evidently, Keith Lee needs to learn one thing: how to come back into the ring and not come through head first. What was that about, Keith? Come on now.
Well, that's the classic Randy Orton setup. So,
he comes in. How many people come in with their head?
Well, I mean, that easily gets into that DDT from the second rope. It looked great, by the way.
To me, come on, guys, don't do that again. That made it look so hokey, and it just, I know it's WWE.
It looks great. What do you mean? It's all hokey. All of it looks hokey.
I mean, he just, here you go. I'm here for you to give you the move.
Well, that's kind of like the, Rey Mysterio 619 deal, where the guys are on. You would think after 1 million guys have got hit in the head with that thing, they would know not to lay over that second rope. And yet, here we are, 2020. He's been doing it for like 25 years now, and ain't nobody caught on to it yet. So.
Yeah, you think that they need somebody to catch on to it, but at the same time, that's the reason the ratings have fell where they're at, because they have done the same thing over and over again. It's like watching the same movie over and over again. All right, I digress. Let's go to the next.
Rodney, if you don't care, go over the underground thing, because I didn't put it in my notes.
Well, Lashley just whips everybody. I mean, he takes out Ziggler. He takes anybody else that's come in. I mean, he's throwing everybody out. Again, it looked like that the inmates at the insane asylum had taken over, and they're putting in the security guards in there to see a fight for death or something. I don't do life or whatever. For me, not my thing.
I'm gonna tell you what, Shane's what kills it for me. I like Shane McMahon. I think he's great. I have a great deal of respect for him, but he just makes it.
Jeffrey said he just ran in, and so did everybody else on Raw.
I'm gonna be honest with you. He does too much. He's just like a comedy sketch for him, and he doesn't take it. It's like he doesn't even take it serious. Guys are supposed to be beating up each other, and he's cracking jokes. So I just don't much care for it.
It's Arkham Asylum. I'm telling you. And there you had, what is it? He would have been the bookworm out there doing the commentary over that. Exactly what that is. And by the way, I thought the guy, the commentators, what was his name? Tom Phillips. Apparently, is he related to Michael Cole?
He is kind of a copy of him. That's why Vince likes him.
The delivery, and you would think if it's two different shows, you would think that they would want a different delivery in the commentary, because the commentary is exactly identical to the other show that we just watched on Monday night. The only thing that I noticed is that they didn't have showheimmers in this show here. They didn't forget what they did earlier in the show, like they did on SmackDown. So, I mean, it was that was the only thing, and it looked like Raw is a bigger show for me. It was a bigger show, and of course, like I said, I didn't see it. So.
Hey, by the way, Lynn, which he's back on, evidently had some problems getting on, but he said, I loved it when fans get in the ring head first. I went into a football punt mode. Well, evidently, Keith Lee was just a fan. He didn't know how to get into the ring. Yes. You come your head first.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, go ahead. We move on.
Now we had another head punt delivered. Was that before or after the?
No, it was after the match. They came back. They replayed the SummerSlam thing with the Universal's title, where they had Ramon Reigns back. Had Ramon Reigns, and then so he came back. Nobody cared, I'm sure. I don't think they cared before.
It's
so you have Ramon Reigns back. So they're going to have the big deal with the three-way dance nonsense match for the Payback show coming up this week. And then they go back, and Orton, McIntyre's back there talking, and you would have thought by now you would say, you know what, I might want to get out of here, because every time I turn around, somebody's attacking me. And then Orton comes and attacks him and kicks him in the head again. Then the I don't know her name, the reporter lady there with the microphone. I don't know. She's standing in front of a door that has a sign on it that says Doctor/Trainer. I thought that was funny.
You
They have a
know,
Yeah,
doctor-
they actually do that quite a bit. So
Yeah, and it was just a sign on the door, doctor/trainer. I just thought that was funny.
Brent York, who decided to knock people for doing the leg slap, I just call that the leg slap heard around the world that he did in this match. You complained about people doing it, and now you do the leg slap, Randy Orton.
I think that's inside rib.
I like the camera. I like the camera angle so that you couldn't tell that he missed him. That's what got me too. Michael Barr got it. Ramon Reigns.
Oh, if this is the next match, oh my goodness, Jack, is this the next thing?
Go ahead.
Sasha Banks versus Asuka in
Yeah.
a lumberjack match. And I was so thankful they didn't call it lumberjills like they used to. But
Can I give a visual real quick? Can I spend some time
Sure.
to give a visual?
Sure.
Ladies, women, this is a wrestling ring.
Yes.
You got the ropes there, you got the four. And here, which is not a lady, but let me try to explain to you a lumberjack match for just a second. When you should come out of the ring, here's my little stretch guy. When you're coming out of the ring, you lumberjacks was supposed to grab a hold of them and throw them back in the ring. I just thought, for the next time y'all go, this is what you do. You throw them back in the ring. That's a lumberjack match for people, for you ladies that don't. I thought maybe they probably explained it to you, but didn't show you visual of what a lumberjack.
They were doing all those spots on the outside. How could they throw them back inside?
I don't understand that at all. I give that a negative 10.
Whoever put that match together didn't know what a lumberjack match was. That's exactly what the problem was. I'm sure one of those brilliant writers they got from Hollywood, or I don't know where they get them from.
Well, I did like the actual finish because they had an actual finish.
You're right.
I like the setup with Bailey trying to come in with the chair and getting cut off, and Sasha, tapping out. I thought that was very well done. I thought it furthered that tag storyline coming up for Payback, I think, this Sunday. So it was pretty good.
Oh, Jeffrey said an old school guy with a raw ring. No,
it was on sale.
It was on sale, and I went and bought it for $2.99, so I'll be all right with it. All right.
Okay, and our main event, Rey and Dominic Mysterio for the first time ever, father-son tag team match. Main event, Seth against Seth Rollins and Murphy, who I think Murphy is greatly underrated. I've liked him from his NXT days. I think he's got a huge future ahead of him. So hopefully they're actually going to build up something big for him over time. They've kind of said a little bit or showed a little bit of friction between him and Seth at times, and so I can see that coming. I think that'll be a good storyline for those guys eventually down the road. And of course,
Seth is magnificent. Yep. I think.
Yeah, he is. I do like him. A lot of people I hear, down here in the South don't like that Messiah gimmick that he does, but it's spelled with a little M. So, I don't mind it. I think Seth's one of their better performers. I don't know. He's got a lot of potential to him that I think is still untapped, and he's been a top guy there for a while, and I don't think he's going anywhere. With an injury, I think he'll be there for a while.
You got some stories, and Jack is breaking up here. I broke up too. I just went off myself.
Looks like everybody, I might be here by myself.
Am I here? Am I here now?
Yeah, you're back, and
okay.
Brent, I think he's.
I think Brent's messing with us now.
Now he's back.
Right, Rodney, what did you think about that match?
Great match again, but they cover it up by doing a run-in. I mean, they have everything going, and again, another run-in. Here we have the Black Scorpions attacking the ring again. I mean, it's repetitive. Just about every single match had somebody interfering, and it's not creative. It is not creative. It just for me, it's boring. It's absolutely no need to have anything. You're going to have, and I can tell you right now, it's kind of like watching Memphis. The most deadly place on Memphis television was at the set. And if you want to be safe in the WWE, the safest place for you is in the ring. I just have to say that.
I know this is not going to be very popular. I'm not a fan of Dominic's. The poor old boy. This is what I think was happening during the training session. Yeah, Dominic, go ahead, buddy. Go in there. Get in that ring, boy. Get in there. I think he fell asleep. Whoever's training fell asleep during training.
I am not appalled at his ability for a guy that's green. You know, getting slung into a main event on the biggest show, wrestling show on TV, sports entertainment, whichever one you want to call it. The thing that disappoints me now is that he's been training for several years. He trained with Lance Storm. I believe he's been at the Performance Center. And apparently nobody has showed him that if you actually pick up weights, your arms will get bigger. I mean, you know, he's a good sized kid, you know, and I don't know. I think if you're going to be there, you've got to put that work in. You can't, it's not just training to take the bumps and do the moves and learn how to wrestle. You got to have that body in there too. And no offense, because I'm a gear maker too, but whoever made that flappy hood thing for him should be hogtied because he spends all his time, you know, you'd think he has long hair or something, the way he flaps everything back all the time.
I think he will be good at some point, but he's not ready for that position.
No, he's not ready yet, I don't think. But you know, if they keep him in there with Seth and some of those guys that can, you know, make him look good, he'll be okay if he'll just listen.
Well, on a scale to 1 to 10, what do you give this Monday Night Raw?
A 4.
Rodney? Scale 1 to 10.
Let's just say this. This is the first time, and I've had my TV I named for 2 years, but it's the first time that my television's ever thrown at.
I give it. I'm gonna give it a 2. I have to just give it a 2. Yeah, it was some. I didn't want to. I don't care about watching it next week. I'm going to because we're going to review it. But there was nothing. Nothing made me want to see it.
Well, I'm going to tell you my biggest disappointment again was that the SmackDown was a strong show. NXT was a great show. SummerSlam was a really good pay-per-view, and this seems like they slid in and nobody really knew what they were doing with Raw. I mean, you know, comparing such a strong weekend to a weak show on Raw, you know, if Raw had been on without that weekend behind them, maybe it would have been, maybe I would have rated it a tad higher. But I was expecting a whole lot since they had delivered a whole lot over 3 days prior. And then Raw was just like, they slammed brakes on me. My face was in the windshield, and I wasn't happy about that.
Does the ratings go down next week for the next Raw?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Especially with all the other sports, it looks like taking a hiatus. You know, people are going to be looking for stuff. Heck, a few weeks back, even with their low ratings, they still beat out a lot of the pro sports that was, you know, on air. So I think they're coming back up.
All right, folks, are we ready to hear from the insiders?
Of course.
Let's hear from the insiders. Retro Rob from New York 62 says they book everything week to week. That's the problem. Michael Barr said, remind me to move my television the next time Raw is on. You don't want to throw up on him. So Richard Hood said it had to be torture for you guys to watch WWE. It was more torture for Jack and Rodney because they watched the whole 3 hours. I watched it on Hulu.
I forward through part of that, most of it.
Y'all have not watched. I haven't missed any episodes, for years. I've watched everything. I ain't saying I'm a fan of everything, but I watch everything. I even watched that. What's some other 3 letters? AEW.
Yeah, you watched that.
I record it. I do your version of watching it. Fast forward.
Well, Lynn Gross said Memphis had many lumberjack matches, but I do not remember Joe LeDuc ever being in one. Go figure. Maybe Randy Hales was booking then. Lynn, Randy is a great friend of ours.
Did I even say something about Randy Hales, brother? Yeah. Believe that I have not said a word bad about the Memphis.
I love Randy, but that was funny.
It was funny. Larry Brock. Larry. And good afternoon to you too, Larry Brock. Good to see you on here. And by the way, Michael Barr wants you to know, yes, you're late and you've got fined $50. But based on the payoffs that you would probably receive, you're paying major money to be working there by that point. So
I could have seen Larry Brock in a match last night, just throwing up his hands and walking out.
Michael Barr asked this question: where did the term square circle come from? Then you showed the ring there, Brent. Square circle actually came from the circus days because they actually did wrestling in a circle, and thus it became the squared circle. That is how the square circle got its name, and many, many, many years ago. Well, I think I already said that, didn't I? Let me go back up here. James Brown said, Seth looks like a woman going to shop at Walmart.
It's that bun.
Michael Barr, he wanted the women wrestlers to show them one time actually we wanted to use one of these so we could show guys actually how we wanted it done in the ring because they wasn't understanding the thought process we were telling them. So we thought, well, maybe we get a ring.
Well, honestly, that lesson was not aimed at the ladies. It was aimed at the people responsible for putting that match together.
Yeah, it wasn't their fault. They just did what they were told.
Oh, Retro's trying to provoke you tonight.
Brent Fuller has spoken. Oh, no, Retro, been in the wrestling business, grew up in it, stayed in it, let's see, I was 26 years old, so 26 years, except those first 6 or 7, I don't remember nothing. And the last couple of years, I don't remember nothing either, so it's all the same. So let's see. I think maybe we got everybody in that's come in on here. I believe we've got everybody that we needed to. Here's Rick C. Brooks that I'm watching and taking it all in, but I have to say I don't care for today's wrestling at all compared to the good old days. We're hoping that there's going to be a change. There hasn't been in years, but maybe there will be. We don't know. Who knows? Mickey Mayfield said, I guess I'm turning heel here. Some of the wrestlers are good, some very good, but I don't see people remembering any of them. We still remember the ones we grew up watching, like Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Wrestling 2. What's your opinion? I agree. I don't think these wrestlers.
There are no superstars right now, and there hasn't been since The Rock.
Yeah, I agree. Do y'all, Rodney, you agree?
Absolutely. And what I talked about earlier about them putting the champ on first, they have devalued the WWE champion to the point where he means nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I think I was told that the WWE title is the #1 title. However, if you watch the two shows, the Universal Champion is on one and the other, and the belts look identical. To me, if you're going to have a champion, a world champion, a number one wrestler, he needs a belt that's unique just to him. Exactly. He doesn't open the show. He is something that you wait on, that you are anticipating. The greatest wrestler on the planet is coming on your show and should be treated as such. And they don't treat him as such. And they certainly didn't treat John Cena that way, because they treated him awful.
Here's a change I would do. I would have a WWE Raw champion and a SmackDown champion.
Yes.
And then I would have a world champion who is not on every episode, but can float between every show they have, NXT, wherever. And he shows up every few weeks, and he does the Flair spiel, and you don't really see him work except for the pay-per-views. But set up your angles, do that, make the champion and the title mean something again.
Exactly. And that's what that's something. And don't get me wrong, there's other promoters that did it too. Ron Fuller treated Ric Flair, the world champion, put him in the cow barn in Andalusia, had no business to do that. And Flair had every right to be mad about that, because he devalued the world champion. You don't devalue your top draw. It doesn't benefit anyone by doing that.
By the way, Retro Rob said that he couldn't resist from doing that. That's all right. That's all right, though, Retro. I'm writing on the back of this little stretch another $50 fine for so now we got $150 from you. You got that right there. All right, go ahead, guys.
Well, I was just going to say that they haven't built a star. We agreed on that since The Rock. And looking back at him, it was a generic thing that they allowed him some freedom, the same way they did with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. They let them connect in their own way and have a say-so in what they were doing. They stopped all that. And now everything is planned to a T, and they pick who they want to get over and expect them to get over. And you don't have the same kind of crowd anymore, but they're still hungry. They still want to believe in somebody, but they're not giving them a reason to. And it's not the talent's fault at any level. It's not the talent's fault. I mean, the only person that has gotten over since The Rock to any great degree was Becky Lynch. And that's it. Nobody else has reached that height.
All right. Anything we need to talk about Raw before we call it a night?
I think we covered it.
Or an episode, we should say, Rodney?
No, I believe that's pretty much it. And as we've said, there's not a match on there that would make me want to watch again, and there's not a wrestler on there that would make me watch again. Just nobody there.
Well, tomorrow night, 7:30, we will be talking about Mid-South Wrestling. We go back to the old school, 1984 Mid-South Wrestling. Rodney, a lot to talk about on this episode.
Oh, this is one of the most solid show, one of the solid show that they've done in a long time. Now, I admit I did not like the thing with Master G, but it seems to have paid off. And in this show, it's just a solid show. We got the Midnight Express against Brickhouse Brown and Master G. Just killer stuff. We've got Jim Duggan in one of the few great matches he's had with Steve Branson. Bill Dundee and Rick McCord steal the show, as far as I'm concerned. Just a fantastic match. And we got a big tag match with Magnum TA and Sonny King against Steve, Dr. Death Williams, Hercules Hernandez. Just perfect. Absolutely perfect. You know what? They have, I believe they own those. They might want to watch them and kind of take notes, WWE. Might learn something.
Jack, what do you say about Mid-South Wrestling?
I am looking forward, if for nothing else, to see Buddy Landale. I love everything Buddy's ever done. One of those great wrestlers that, should have, he was his own worst enemy at times, but should have been a world champion had he done everything like he needed to do. Great guy. Great show. I love being part of the Friday nights, and you learn something. I do every week.
Coming up, Mid-South Wrestling, 7:30. Don't miss it. All right, guys, it is time for us to say goodbye. We want to thank all the insiders. Let's make sure that we didn't miss anyone. Let's see. Red Harrison said, Brent, you didn't cover old school. Well, yeah, I think we did.
It's new school with an old school eye.
We give Raw the old school charm. I can tell you right now, if I was in the Fatal Four and R-Truth came in singing with his back turned to me, he'd have got a knee in the back and a microphone down the throat. I can tell you right now.
One day when we have time, we'll take the old school, we'll take the new school, and then we'll take and see what would we do old school instead of new school. That's going to take some time, though. It's going to take some time. We need to watch the shows for a few weeks before we can do that. Don't y'all agree?
Agree.
Because we haven't watched them. Rodney hadn't watched them.
Y'all behind. I'm up to snuff.
I have not watched them. I had not. That's the first one I've watched in probably 4 months. So we will pick that. We will pick that up. We want to tell everyone, if you have not went to our Teespring store, you can get there from Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Inside and Out right here on Facebook. You can hit the Shop Now button and you can go over there and buy some T-shirts, women's tank tops, cell phone covers, masks, coffee cups, plus much more available at the Teespring store. Also, if you are watching this on Facebook, there you go, Jack the Bomber. You can get you one of those cups, and every morning you can drink your coffee and think about Jack the Bomber Lord and his review of many, many different wrestling organizations throughout the years. But if you're watching on YouTube, give us a big old thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like and share.
Hey, Rhett, what was your earlier question? I can't seem to find it. You said, look at my question earlier.
All right, let's look before we leave. Let's look at his question.
I couldn't find where it was about. It was about.
Okay. Rhett Harris said, I have an old school question for you all tonight. When you get to the review, this wrestler broke Terry Gordy's nose in Gulf Coast Wrestling. Do you know the answer? It could have been Michael Hayes. Hey, if anybody knows the answer to that question, leave it in the comments. Leave it in the comments because I don't think I know. Do you, Jack?
Not offhand. I sure don't.
Rodney, do you know?
I don't know.
All right. Is that the only question he sent in?
Yeah, he was about Terry Gordy. He was asking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Rhett. Is Rhett going to know? Going to tell? Oh,
Dr. X.
Dr. X. Dr. X. Now, who was Dr. X, Rhett? Do you know who it was? Who was under the mask? Or was it just somebody that was called Dr. X? All right, folks. We'll wait for him to come back. Don't forget Friday night, Mid-South Wrestling Live, Facebook and YouTube. Monday night, we're back with the wrestling conversation. Jack's got a story. Rodney's got one. And we're going to talk about when Tommy Rich won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I'll give you a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff about exactly what happened. Red's asking a bunch of questions. Who was Don Jardine? But we are running out of time. Rodney, thank you so much for being a part. Jack, thank you so much. And thank you for being a part. All the insiders, thank you so much for being a part of the show. And until we meet again, ain't that a tagline of somebody else? Well, so long from your homes, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much.